This one is fresh, like almost everybody know this one, and it's still fresh in everybody's mind. With Valsero, the original video when he was talking about, he was addressing the problem where Mr. Shine got locked up. And when talking about that problem, he was talking about artists not coming together and artists having hating each other or feeling jealous for each other on all these kind of things. Then he started citing names, called so many artists, called Mings, called, did he call Kosi? Because I know he called maybe Avero, called Malox. I think he called Tenor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he called so many guys and said there's no
so that's the Jovi effect. The only one I can recall is Malox and Jovi.
Yeah, so he said these guys don't have any solidarity among themselves and all these things, you know. Jovi now, just because he called Jovi's name among all those guys and said all these names, I'm telling you guys to come together because I see the Cameroon music industry, you guys are wicked or hate each other and all this. So he called names and say you guys should stop that nonsense and come together and work together. Jovi now went on Twitter and said and told Valsero, can't you fait ton truc là ne met pas mon nom dedans. He used a term and then he said you're one of the problems, we are one part of the larger problem in this industry and in this country. That's what Jovi said. So he took it as Jovi always does. He blew the thing out of proportion with his reply. So now Valsero too came back and told Jovi, this rat, you're talking to me. If I were in Yaoundé, I'm not sure you'll be talking the way you're talking now. You're just talking like this because I'm in France. Because the gangster life you think you have and the bagando spirit you think you have, we've lived that life. And if I were in Yaoundé, I don't think you'll be talking that. I will remove your teeth out. You're lucky that I'm not in Yaoundé. And to me, I believe Valsero when he says that more than Jovi, that he can do something to him. Because it's not the Valsero who will do something to him. Because of the time Valsero has spent and the age he's at, he has enough leverage to command that kind of act to be done onto somebody like a Jovi who disrespects him. And I believe if Valsero was in Yaoundé and Jovi said that, Jovi's movements would be restricted. If Valsero was in Cameroon.
Most of those guys are not as gangster as they sound, man.
You understand? No, I'm not saying Valsero is gangster. I'm saying the time he has put in the industry, the age he's at right now, and what he has done, let's just say, for the entertainment scene and the things he went through trying to address the larger problem in Cameroon. He wasn't trying to fix the Cameroon music industry. He was trying to tackle the bigger problem in Cameroon, like most of these unemployment, jobs, marginalized, all these kind of things. He was trying to tackle them, calling out the people who everybody was scared to call out. So he got dealt with. You understand?
You think he has a loyal fan base like that can go and fight for him?
He's not having a loyal fan base. He's having base after going through all those kind of activities. You rub shoulders or shake hands with certain people who have certain power in certain places. If you get what I mean. Because he's not in Paris, he's not in France now because he liked being there. Valsero ran to France, for most guys who don't know. And because of the assistance and the help, and because of the assistance and the help he got from the people who were with him while he was going through all those things in Cameroon, that's how he made it to France. So I believe those guys who have that leverage and that power, they are still in Cameroon. And if he wants to make use of the power he has and the reach he has, he can still use it. He can still leverage it.
So for me, like some of the things Jovi raised, I always say that some of these guys,
I'm not saying when Jovi said that everything he said was completely wrong. What Jovi said, he had some valid points in there. Like you talking about Anglophones now, I don't think you've ever rapped a verse in rapped a verse in Pidgin or in English, and it's true, he hasn't. But when addressing problems, he addressed
for me.
Jovi
might not be the most composed artist, but I feel like, before this one too, I feel like to a lesser extent, Valsero is wrong. To a greater extent, Jovi is wrong. Because one, I I have an issue with the way Jovi handled the whole crisis, being a Jovi. So when he was asked in this particular interview about, and that journalist was asking him questions which were leading towards what the streets are saying, or at least what the industry is saying, or what online streets are saying. And he was giving his own answers, but I could see where the journalist was going at, or the interviewer, or whoever, the YouTuber was going at. He asked him, like, what does Moko stand from? Because many people say you are sound like a street man, but you are not a street man. And he was like, Moko is a state of mind. Because he's not really a street guy like that. And even on the street is not like the street. The street is all about hustlers. And on the streets, there are businessmen, there are, what do you say, there are pantsers, there are the people who are the soldiers on the street and all of those things. And then he said he classify himself like the pantsers, the thinkers on the street. So I was thinking to myself, like, okay, as a thinker of the street, when there was a real problem affecting the street, like anyone, be it a Cameroon problem or a Boko problem or an Anglophone problem or a youth problem, do you really make your voice heard as a thinker of the street? Question mark. Secondly, as a grand frère, always reclaiming respect from people like the Magascos and the Pascals and the you disrespecting. He said that Valsero is a clochard. I don't know, you know what's a clochard, right?
No.
So in French, it's a homeless person, I think, or say something like that. A homeless person or a street person, something like clochard, or a beggar, that kind of person.
Clochard is like these barandos in the streets that live in tears and this kind of thing.
Homeless person.
Yeah.
So he said Valsero is a clochard, that they has met him twice, and he was always drunk. And I'm like, okay, you might have met a grand frère drunk, but yeah, saying he's a clochard, it's a stretch. And you will say that there are certain lines not to be crossed. I don't think there's any line which Jovi does not cross. He said this guy's head is up in his A, and if he takes his head out of the A, he's going to whatever. And I'm like, I don't think there's any line of respect that you don't cross. So to talk about line of respect, I have an issue with that. Thirdly, he said, what did he even mention about this guy? Where he mentioned this thing of tickets. The same thing you're talking about the Malox issue, where he said, although that's why I find his interviews very interesting, although I might not agree with everything he says. He said they usually bring international artists and pay them a lot of money. Some of the things which you can change in the industry. He almost appeared to the man who veni bâché. And I started laughing. You understand the expression of bâché, right?
Kind of.
Yeah. So almost like when you're on a bike and then they just bring one person just comes.
Yeah, because bâché means when a bike. Yeah, of course. Like so when they bring these guys in the country and they're not. Yeah, you say when they bring these guys in the country and they're able to sell tickets, they bring him to come and sell the tickets. Like bâché. That's a bâché.
Exactly. No,
yeah.
But that word bâché is very strategic because the person who is bâché is not treated with respect. They are just attached to the concert. So though he's the one selling the ticket, but they just attach him to the thing like an extra. Yeah, he's not really the main act of it. He's
and
not
that's
respect. Like one instance we had like which artist came and they told him to stay. How do they even call it? They told him to stay out of the lockers. So the main artist left, then they asked other artists to come in. So those kind of things, that's the whole bashing thing. Bashing can mean a lot of things around that situation. So I'm like, that also says a lot about the whole situation with Malox, where he was fighting.
Yeah, that was what Malox is fighting
but you
against.
only talk about it from where you are feeling the pain.
Exactly.
So there's that aspect where I felt like there's a lot of contradiction here. They're raising valid points, but either you are this or you are that. Either you're like, it's okay, don't talk about my back, don't protest anything for us, the artists, or let's protest no matter what. So there was that issue. So for me, I feel like Valsero maybe should not have mentioned his name, but I feel like, for me, grand frères have a certain I'll call
In
it
the
what
context
they,
in
I
which
give
he
them a certain
mentioned the name,
liberty.
it was valid. In the context,
Yeah,
it was
that's
valid
what I'm
that he
saying.
called the
So
name.
grandfathers have a certain liberty where they can a little bit manquer respect to a petit frère and it's okay. So at Valsero's level, his age and the industry and all, I think we can give him some liberty to do certain things. That includes mentioning people's names. And I also feel like I always said this thing, I feel like the Bokongang and them, they have given Jovi an unrealistic proportion of himself, which they cannot support him all the way with.